Our sector, the construction industry, accounts for more than 40% of the overall energy consumption, for more than 1/3 of our CO2 emissions. So therefore, it's crucial that we are doing something in this field. The good news is that in this field we have already today all the technologies to put sustainability really in place. What we have to do is to use it.
Welcome everyone, I'm Giulia Leghissa, part of the editorial board of Build Up Portal, which is the European portal for energy efficiency in buildings. Today we have the first expert talk. We have the pleasure to have Ulrich Santa, the Director of CasaClima. He is graduated with a computer engineering degree from the Technical University of Vienna and worked as a lecturer for several years. He gained experience in several international research projects, and in 2015 has been nominated coordinator of Action Group 9 of the macro-regional European strategy for the Alpine region. So welcome, Ulrich. My first question would be, what does Construction 4.0 mean to you?
The construction industry belongs still to what we call the old economy. However, also in this field, the innovation cycles are becoming shorter and shorter, and also in our sector, the new technologies such as digitalization, artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, Internet of Things, smart home, and things like that are becoming more and more important and are already today changing the way we are planning and we are building projects. So all the tools, starting from BIM, all the virtual reality tools, the simulation tools, and the digital models, this data can be directly used by 3D printers, for instance, or in prefabrication by the machinery or by robots. So therefore it's really a disruptive change. And these techniques permit us today to design and also to realize shapes and forms that would have been unimaginable a few years ago. And on the other hand, as we are known also as sustainability certification scheme, these techniques allow us also to reduce the use of material in the building industry, and this is a crucial point, in my opinion, when it comes to the reduction of the overall ecological impact and footprint of the building industry. So therefore, this is for sure something that can help also the building industry to become more sustainable.
So we all know that the building industry and construction industry is quite slow to innovate and to implement this new technological innovation. This means, however, that the industry must, keep pace with this technological innovation, and how CasaClima has responded to this.
We are active mainly on the Italian market, and if we are looking on the Italian construction industry, we have to say that they are working still in a very conventional way. But nevertheless, even if these new techniques are not yet applied on a large scale, the construction industry, not only in Italy and all over Europe, will have to adapt quickly. Of course, this applies not only to the companies. These new technologies have also a big impact on occupation. So in future, the necessary skills will change. So low-skilled workers and employees will be replaced either by robots or by higher skilled workers. So this is for sure a challenge, but I think that the young generation and the digital natives will not have a big problem to adapt to this development. For us, it's important, of course, also we as a certification scheme will have to take more and more into account also these new technologies, new materials in our rating schemes when it comes to the evaluation of the sustainability of a building. But of course, we will have to consider it also in our research and mainly training activities. So as you probably know, our agency offers a broad variety of courses. Over the years, more than 40,000 professionals, technicians, and also craftsmen participated in our training courses, and for sure we will have to adapt and to address more and more also these issues.
Can you give some examples of these training courses that you have to our build-up audience?
Yes. For instance, so we offer training courses for planners and also for practitioners. For instance, for the installation of windows, we know the window as a product is highly performant. Let's say if we have problems with that component in the building envelope, then it's not due to the low quality of the product, but to the installation. So who installs the window has to have a certain expertise to do that. And it will be the same also when it comes to the day-by-day use of these new technologies on construction side, if we are using robots or 3D printers there on construction side. So it's very important, not only, and this is maybe also an essential part of our certification scheme, to put the emphasis on a high planning quality. It's very, very important to look also on the execution quality. What in the end matters when it comes to to real sustainable and energy efficient buildings is not so much the quality of simulation or planning, but it's the execution quality that matters in the end.
So talking about more about CasaClima. CasaClima certification is well known in Italy, it's well established in Italy. So can you explain what is CasaClima certification to the build-up audience and its standards?
Yes, the CasaClima agency is a public body owned by the autonomous province of Bolzano. We are a competence center for energy efficiency and sustainable buildings. CasaClima is, first of all, a quality assurance process. So where we are not looking only on that, what I said already before, on the calculus and on the design qualities, but where we are putting really emphasis on a high execution quality. What we have seen, and this is the experience that measured in more than 18,000 certified projects, that the difference between theoretically and real sustainable buildings is made on construction side. So therefore we are doing for all certified projects at least 2 quality assurance audits on site, on construction site, during execution and after execution. So we are performing also a series of tests, for instance the blower door test and things like that. And this makes sure that the result of this quality process is in the end a real efficient, a really comfortable building, a robust, a resilient building, building that has also a low need of maintenance and things like that. And the most important thing is, of course, that these buildings have to have a high degree of and high comfort levels. Over the years, then we evolved our standards and our protocols evolved. We developed an entire family of sustainability Cs for specific application areas, for hotels, for offices, for wineries, for instance, for schools and things like that. And for the residential buildings, we developed a CasaClima Nature certification, where we are not looking only on the energy performance of the building and the coverage by renewables of the energy demand. In these sustainability seals, we are considering, for instance, also the whole life cycle of the construction materials. We are looking also on the grey energy. Why are we doing that? We have seen that today in CasaClima, which is our local implementation of the nearly zero energy building standards, we have a 50-50% situation with regard to the energy consumption during operation and the energy that is needed to build the building. So therefore, further optimization should not be done on lowering the energy consumption during operation, but we have to look on the construction and on the materials. We have to reduce there the ecological footprint. This is one aspect, and these standards consider a wider set of sustainability criteria that regard not only the hardware, the building envelope, but that regard also other issues, as for instance the indoor quality and other issues related to the well-being and the health of the people in the building. So this is our family of certification schemes for buildings. Over the last years, we developed then other initiatives and programs and certifications also for other fields, for instance, for municipalities, the CasaClima, the KlimaHaus program, or an initiative which is called Klima Factory, which aims at supporting, in particular, small and medium-sized enterprises in becoming more efficient, more competitive by that, and more sustainable in general.
Is a recent activity, this one?
Yes, the Klima Factory program has been started in 3 years ago. And the KlimaHaus initiative is based on the European Energy Efficiency Award. So it's an energy management system designed for the needs of municipalities.
How do you think the certification of CasaClima combines with the Digitalized project? For example, with a project which where BIM is implemented?
Yes, what we have seen, we already certified, of course, projects and buildings that where BIM has been used. What we have seen is that it is really possible to reduce the construction times. You can optimize the time and the effort in the planning stage, and it helps also to avoid errors in the execution phase. So it's the basis for a collaborative model and for an integrated planning approach and execution approach, which is equally important. So from our experience, we can say that it will come. We see that it is used today in important projects, in bigger projects. It is not so much used when it comes to smaller buildings and houses. So, but also in this field, sooner or later, we will have to use all these digital instruments.
So are you planning to expand the use of a CasaClima certification also internationally?
In Italy, we are the market leader in the field of energy efficiency and sustainability certifications. We registered recently an increasing interest also on an international level. So we are certifying projects, for instance, in other European countries, of course, but also in South America, for instance, in Brazil, and we are working, or we have requests also from China.
How do you think architecture today is responding to the increasing need to protect the environment, reduce emissions, and so have in general a lower impact on environment? So, for example, with the use of sustainable materials.
Well, it's fundamental. Our sector, the construction industry, accounts for more than 40% of the overall energy consumption, for more than 1/3 of our CO2 emissions. So therefore, it's crucial that we are doing something in this field. The good news is that in this field we have already today all the technologies, all the answers, all the solutions to put sustainability really in place. What we have to do is to use it, to apply it, to put it in place. So it's not rocket science.
Having in mind an overview of the Klimahouse fair of 2020. So what innovative materials and technology would you like to highlight to us?
What we can see is what is becoming more and more, let's say, important in the field of the passive components and the materials is the EPD, the Environmental Product Declarations. So planners and owners are to this day really very sensitive to these environmental issues. On the one hand, because our rating schemes are asking for these EPDs, for these environmental product declarations, but also the industry has seen that on such a selective market as we have it in Italy, you have to go in this direction. On the other hand, when we're talking about HVAC appliances and things like that, there are innovations. We have compact aggregates which are combining all the functionality of heating, of cooling, of mechanical ventilation and stuff like that in one compact aggregate. Of course, we have all the appliances in the field of the smart home and building automation. For sure, these techniques and technologies and appliances can further help to optimize the comfort levels in the buildings, but also to optimize and to reduce to a minimum by predictive models or stuff like that, the energy consumption. On the other hand, I have to say that I'm not a friend of too technological buildings. If we are putting too much technology in our buildings, we can do it, but it has to be done in the right way, and we should never forget that all these things have to be maintained, and each component which is added to a system leads to a more complex system, and by that we increase also the probability of failure and of mistakes that can be done in the planning phase, in the execution phase, and things like that. So I think also here sometimes less can be more.
How do you see the European building stock industry in the next 20 years? You think we'll be able to make our buildings energy efficient and respect this?
I think when we're talking about new buildings, we will have to look in future not only on the energy performance of our buildings, but we will have to look also on other issues. We will have to consider the whole life cycle of the building when we are talking about real sustainable buildings. Said this, I think that it's not so much a technical challenge to build a nearly zero energy building. We are already doing it. So from that point of view, I'm quite confident that we will meet our targets. The real challenge, in my opinion, is, however, the existing building stock. So we all know that these new buildings, these nearly zero energy buildings, are representing only a very small part of our building stock. And here we have seen that we are far behind the retrofitting rates we set, or we would have, in order to really reduce significantly the energy consumption and this, by consequence the CO2 emissions. So I think this will be the real challenge for the future, and we all will have to work harder on maybe also new and innovative instruments, technical instruments, as we did it with our CasaClima our protocol and certification scheme, a guideline for a good renovation. Let's put it this way. And on the other hand, probably we will have to work also on other instruments, maybe also normative or legal instruments, to reach and to overcome the barriers we encounter in this field.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting, and thank you for doing this interview for our Build Up audience, and it was a pleasure.